you know what happened in August here? I mean, when you read the newspapers, you see my son filmed what was happening, but when you read the newspapers, of course I was here. I couldn't leave my house. I only would go out early during the day. The police were barricading here. You see, I wish I could just go on television. I want to scream to the whole world. They said that the blacks were rioting against the Jews in Crown Heights and that the Jews were fighting back. Do you know that the blacks who came to riot here were not my neighbors? I don't love my neighbors. I don't know my black neighbors. There's one lady on President Street, Claire. I adore her. She's my girlfriend's next door neighbor. I've had a manicure done at her house. We sit in kibitz and stuff, but I don't know them. I told you we don't mingle socially because of the difference in food and religion and what have you here. But the people in this community want exactly what I want out of life. They want to live in nice homes. They all go to work. They can possibly live here if they didn't generally. They have two incomes that come in. They want to send their kids to college. They want to live a nice, quiet life. They want to shop for their groceries, cook their meals, and go to their Sunday picnics. They just want to have a decent home and a decent life. The people who came to riot here were brought here by the famous Reverend Al Sharpton, which I'd like to know. Who ordained him? He brought in a bunch of kids. I wish you could have seen the New York Times. Unfortunately, it was on page 20. But he brought in a bunch of kids who didn't have jobs in the summertime. And when you don't have a job and you're hanging out all day, they interviewed one of the black girls on Utica Avenue. And she said, the guys will make you pregnant at night and in the morning not know who you are. If you're sitting on the front stoop and it's very, very hot and you have no money and nothing to do with your time and someone says, come on, you want to riot? You know how kids are. The fault lies with the police department. The police department did nothing to stop them. I was standing on my front porch when bottles were being thrown, and the sergeant tells 500 policemen with clubs and helmets and guns to duck. And I said to him, you're telling them to duck? Well, what should I do? I don't have a club or a gun. If they had put it out, stopped it, the first night, then this kid who came from Australia, his parents were Holocaust survivors. He didn't have to die. What happened on Utica Avenue was an accident. Jewish people do not drive vans into 7-year-old boys. You want to know something? Black people do not drive vans into 7-year-old boys. Hispanic people do not drive vans into 7-year-old boys. It's just not done. People like Jeffrey Dahmer, maybe they do it. But the average citizen does not go out and try to kill 7-year-old boys. What happened on Utica Avenue was an accident, but it was allowed to fester and steam and all that. When you come here, do you see anything that's going on? Riots? No. But Al Sharpton and the likes of him like Dougherty, who, by the way, was in prison, and all of a sudden he becomes Reverend Dougherty. They did an expose on him once. They live off this. You understand? People are not going to give them money, contribute to their causes, unless they're out rebel-rousing my black neighbors. I mean, I spoke to them. They were hiding in their houses like I was. We were scared. I was scared. I was really frightened. I had 500 policemen in front of my house every day, mounted policemen, but I couldn't leave my block because when it got dark, I couldn't come back in. I couldn't meet anybody for dinner. Thank God, like I told you, all of my children were out of town. My son was in Russia. The coup happened exactly the same day the riot started, and I was very upset about it. He was running a camp in Russia, and I was very concerned when I had heard about that. I hadn't heard from him since the riot started, and when I did hear from him, I said, stay in Russia. You'd be safer there than here. And he was.